So, according to new reports, President Trump is ready to deport U.S. citizens. Now, this is a shocking turn of events, but I want to break down what is happening and why. Today, we're going to go through a Department of Justice memo that was released. And again, we're going to talk about this because multiple community members have brought this up and sent me this, asking, is this true? Well, let's break it down and let's start right now. Look at this. It says DOJ Memo outlines plans for prioritizing denaturalization, aka yanking U.S. citizenship of individuals charged with certain crimes. Now, this was an article from the New York Post just yesterday, and I want to read this to you. Again, what it has to say is important because this is not something that the United States is planning to do and no other country does. No. Many other countries are doing this as we speak. For instance, ICE here in the United States, they prioritize removing non-U.S. citizens, obviously, as long as they're convicted of certain crimes. But other countries like Canada, New Zealand, Australia, for example, they have these certain deportation policies as well for non-citizens with criminal convictions. And some range. Some are very simple that, you get caught stealing. Okay, you get caught with illegal drugs. They can get rid of you. They can send you back to your home country. And you're probably thinking, well, how do you send back somebody from their home country if they're a U.S. citizen? Well, they were not born a U.S. citizen. That's the difference. Let's read this. It says right here, the Justice Department will prioritize revoking the U.S. citizenship of individuals charged with certain crimes, according to a memo issued by the agency earlier this month. It says, the Civil Division shall prioritize and maximally pursue denaturalization proceedings in all cases permitted by law and supported by the evidence. The enforcement priorities. Memo sent by Assistant Attorney General Brett Shumat. It says, Shumat noted that the Civil Division has established several categories of priorities for denaturalization cases in order to promote the pursuit of all viable denaturalization cases and maintain the integrity of the naturalization system while simultaneously ensuring an appropriate allocation of resources. Okay, what does all that mean? Well, let's get right down to it. It says, the 10 categories of crimes that could lead to citizenship being stripped range from war crimes to COVID loan fraud. Yeah, that is crazy. Look at this right here. It says, individuals who pose a potential danger to national security, including those with a nexus to terrorism, espionage, or the unlawful export from the United States of sensitive goods, technology, and information raising national security concerns will be among those prioritized for denaturalization. Again, the Trump administration is looking at ways to protect the United States. And again, I bring this up because everyone says President Trump wants to get rid of all the people that have come into the U.S. over the past several years. No, that is not true. He wants to remove all the illegal immigrants that have come in here illegally, that we do not know where they came from, where they're even at, or what they're doing. Because the concern is that there are so many other countries that are somewhat against the United States that President Trump doesn't want this to become a terrorist target. Let's keep reading this. Look at this right here. It says, as will individuals who further or furthered the unlawful enterprise of criminal gangs, transnational criminal organizations, and drug cartels. We have many different cartels that have tried to come into the United States over the past, 4 to 5 years. Specifically over the past 4 years during the Biden administration. Many people came in. And this is a huge concern, mainly because we are seeing certain gangs take over New York City, Chicago, even Denver, Colorado. And again, it's a problem. But let's look at this. here's the issue, okay? It's this right here. And this is what I'm going to read this to you in just a moment. But the reason why I'm showing you this is because the United States was ripe for fraud. And this isn't just during the Biden administration. This was also the end of the first term of the Trump administration. Back in 2020, when we were obviously dealing with COVID, that many people were trying to come into the United States because the U.S. was providing shots. They were providing testing. They were providing stimulus checks, providing PPP loans, EIDL loans, enhanced unemployment, so many different things, which is why we were ripe for fraud. But look at this. It says various forms of fraud are also listed in this memo, including Paycheck Protection Program loan fraud, that's the PPP loans, and Medicaid, Medicare fraud, and fraud against private individuals, funds, and corporations. Now, what is fraud against a private individual? Well, it could range from so many different things. Funds and corporations. What if you tried to defraud your company? You're working for a company and you kept giving your time card or your code to clock in. You kept telling it to a friend, hey, clock me in. Clock me in at 8 o'clock. I won't be there till about 9:30. I'm sleeping in, I'm running late, whatever, but clock me in. And you do this every single day. If you are not if you were not born here in the United States, this would actually open up the door to potentially send you back to your home country, wherever you came from. It also goes on to say, the DOJ will also target individuals who committed human trafficking, sex offenses, and violent crimes. Yeah. If you committed a violent crime, and again, I bring this up because Tren de Aragua, okay, that's the big gang crime, whoever group that's come into the U.S. over the past several years, and they've established themselves in New York City, they've established themselves in Chicago, established themselves in Denver, Colorado, and they're doing it in California as well. But again, I bring this up because some of those people have committed violent crimes, especially on people in New York City, on citizens of New York City. And yet those people are still here in the United States because we have not deported them yet. Goes on to say, naturalized citizens who don't disclose previous felonies during the process or acquired their citizenship through government corruption or misrepresentation could also be subject to prioritized denaturalization proceedings. Yes. So the only people that this doesn't apply to are U.S. citizens born in the United States. This is your home country. You cannot be deported, but you can go to jail. So the reason I bring this to your attention is because a lot of people are wondering, is this true? Are U.S. citizens potentially going to be deported? The answer is yes. But they are not born U.S. citizens. Okay? They're just not born here in the United States. But they've received citizenship through certain processes. Those are the ones that could potentially be sent back to their home countries. So again, I bring this to your attention because President Trump is ready to deport all those people that have committed fraud, that have committed crimes, and are a danger to us here in the United States. That is what we're being told. So, as we get more information on this, I promise I'll bring you all the latest news and updates. But as of today, that is what we know. So again, thank you guys for watching. Consider subscribing, and I'll see you guys on the next one.